Okay, right, look, so straight away, ignore the weird background. I'm on one of my wrestling trips because sometimes I've got to be a wrestler. You know the deal. But given the last 24 hours or so, the internet has hilariously completely broken down between The Rock and Roman Reigns, which I secretly love because I enjoy the chaos. I put a tweet out there, and I said, give me your reactions, and I would just randomly scroll through and I make a video of them. So that's what I'm doing right now. What a nerd. So quite literally just scrolling, and the first one comes from N8. I'm going to assume you don't mind me reading this out. Reigns, Rhodes, and Rock, a power-packed trio that's been setting the wrestling world on fire. That's like the nicest comment ever, given some that I've seen. Continue on too, and I found Carmichael, and Carmichael says, I'm not sure what to think of it. If they can find a way for it all to make sense, it could make for some interesting storytelling. Maybe Cody can be the guest referee. This is why I love my community. Everyone is just so nice. Buster Boy has taken a very different tack, because he says, I think it's the company's worst booking decision since the main event of WrestleMania 9. Now, some people these days don't know about WrestleMania 9. Terrifyingly, it is a little bit similar. C. Parker does that thing that says, I still think it's a work. Now, look, usually in the past, I would have believed this, but when CM Punk got injured at the Royal Rumble, do you know what everybody said? It's definitely a work. And look, I get it. You do want to believe. Come here a sec. Not everything's a work. Dr. Peaches, I don't think he's a real doctor, says, WWE managed to do the impossible and make me, the biggest Rock fan ever, feel absolutely heartbroken seeing him show up on TV. And once again, I've seen a lot more, let's just say, aggressive messages. Man, it's been funny. Here we go, because Richard Gallen says, this must be what it felt like for my dog when we got his balls lopped off. Bro, I really hope you had a reason. Joe goes right in there, the most terrible decision they have ever made. Now listen, it has been quite the choice, but that ain't true at all. Real Tribal D gets it because he says, I didn't have a warm and fuzzy feeling in my tum-tum, man. I understand. And John turns it into a Shakespeare play because he says, I feel deflated. And it's honestly taken away my interest in WWE and possibly wrestling as a whole. Shouldn't laugh. I just feel there's no point to any of it. Why should these people bust their ass for years to earn their opportunities with the acts of an older popular wrestler overhead? Now look, I don't think you should stop watching entirely. Again, I don't think wrestling is that important. It's the least important of the most important things, or the other way around, something like that. John, my man, my heart goes out to you. Bees is going to set the internet on fire too, because they have said Roman deserves and has earned facing The Rock more than Cody has earned finishing his story. Now, there's actually probably a whole video in that, but we don't have time. All I'm going to say is this. Maybe that's true, maybe it's not true, but maybe don't tell a story for close to 2 years and then just go, man, nah, we're not going to do it. I Swag When I Surf says, what's the point of Cody winning the Rumble just for him to give it up? I think that is the majority of people's big problem with this. I think most of us want to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. Like, it's one of the biggest matches WWE can do, but it's just the fact that the winner of the Royal Rumble did go, sir, I can finally take on my mortal enemy. You know what, Dwayne? I'm just going to give it to you instead. And Wilder FTW, I think, has absolutely smashed it because he just repeats what I just said. Happy for Roman Rock finally happening, but the timing couldn't have been worse. He somehow managed to ruin Cody's story, that is true. The value of the Royal Rumble match, the ending of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, and even most of the hype surrounding Roman Rock, all in one segment. Now, my man, you do make a great point. What's a pay-per-view? It's a premium live event. Philly has a wonderful take on life because they said, very disappointed, but that's life. I'm sure it'll still be a good match. Honestly, I am so proud of all of you. Blank is absolutely stuck in the past because they said, my honest opinion, he's not lying to us, is none of them should be main eventing WrestleMania, and that Sami Zayn should have won that belt at Elimination Chamber last year. Still not over it. Listen, my friend, once again, I can feel your pain. It's definitely time to let it go. JDK20 says, I would still be livid if The Rock had won the Royal Rumble, but at least it would have made sense why Cody isn't choosing Roman. Excitement levels for WrestleMania definitely dropped in terms of the main event anyway. That's another thing I've heard a lot and that I do totally agree with. I genuinely thought The Rock was going to come back at number 30. Like, when I was watching it, I was so convinced. And when we got to the countdown, 10, 9, 8, 7, blah, 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 you know, I made sure I stopped making notes, obviously for ups and downs over on What Culture, and I turned the sound up because I wanted to join the Mega Pop, and then it just never came. Like, if The Rock had come out at number 30 and he had won the damn thing, obviously there would have been some backlash, like, how could you do this to Cody? But at least it ties into the story. Whereas this one, well, we may as well say it, it's 2 + 2 = potato. Paloma certainly gets into it because they said The Rock is so mad he didn't get to fight Superman. He's going for Roman instead. I'm steering clear of it. Exile to Halifax, you need to come back soon. Just go talk to the courts and figure out what went on, says, at this point, Tony Schiavone has more chance of finishing his story in his ongoing feud with Adam Cole than Cody does of finishing his. I heard if Tony wins, he gets free dental care from Britt Baker as a reward. So, well done, dude. That's absolutely the weirdest one. Face says, is The Rock about to turn heel? No way. That was the complete opposite of what he's trying to do, though accidentally that did happen. And Ken always goes with the Star Wars tact. The scene in The Last Jedi where Leia flies made me think, if the director doesn't respect the story of Star Wars, why should I care about it in the future? That's exactly how I feel now about finishing the story. And actually, if we do bring some seriousness back into this, that is a very good point outside of all the Star Wars stuff, because I believe that WWE had been able to get the fans to have faith in the product once again. Like, okay, you're going to tell me a long story. I do think you're going to pay it off. And now they've just gone back to doing what WWE always does, which is literally, lol, we're not going to do it. You have to forgive me laughing. I think it's great because it's just so stupid, and I like stupid stuff. Mr. Moron, great name by the way, says, dog, this is some Games of Thrones season final stuff. I can see what you mean. And Earth616 Survivor says, it sucks so bad for Cody. We waited practically 2 years for him to get to this point. Now it's all washed away. You could see the disappointment in his eyes. It was painful to see. And then if you want to know what the rest of them are, a lot of them are pictures of Cody Rhodes smashing the throne when he was in AEW, and people saying, lol, he doesn't forget. Well, I tell you, man, if we do a little bit of research, I don't think this has anything to do with Triple H. Let's just leave it there. So anyways, that's kind of wonderful. Again, I went in there totally blind to see what people had said. I thought they were going to go crazy, and there is a lot of anger, but actually I think there was a lot of positive and constructive feedback too. Now look, we do have to let it all play out. I've already talked about the video the other day, how I feel about this, and over on What Culture, but I can't pretend that I haven't enjoyed the weekend, because seeing how out of control it got had me laughing and going on my phone way too much. Now listen, I'm the biggest Cody Rhodes fan in the world, but I'm also desperate to see The Rock versus Roman Reigns. So I'm hoping that WWE does, kind of tap into the fan base, which is the most important part of professional wrestling, and we make it right. And if not, what is it, like February the 4th, February 5th? We are in. For a crazy couple of months. Now, of course, as always, my friends, make sure you click the video on the screen, which will be my thoughts about the whole Rock and Roman Reigns thing as it was happening over on SmackDown. Click the bell, ding, ding, notification crew. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe. If you are into fitness, it's grillermind.com/Simon. Just go to Simon to get 10% off. Patreon.com/Simon316. Support me that way. Instagram and Twitter, Simon316, which is where I put that post. So thank you very much for responding as well. Simon J. Miller on TikTok, Simon Miller on Cameo. If you want a Valentine's Day message from me, which would be weird, but you can have it anyway. And you know about my merchandise on Pro Wrestling Tees and Samson Athletics. Otherwise, yes, I'm now going to chill out in my weird room. And look, I deliberately did it next to a ladder. It's meant to be something you see and go, wrestling. It's my level of intelligence. Goodbye.